Wired Access.
We'll do it live.
Wired Access.
Do it live.
Wired Access.
We'll do it live.
Wired Access.
Welcome to Wired Access Podcast. I'm your host, DJ K-Dub Omaha. We're a part of that Herd at One, where we share stories of people who are a part of Nebraska. And you know what I do here on Wired Access. We're all about those NEB preps, especially when we can share their story beyond high school, beyond college. And today we have Union Omaha, and I could say Union Omaha because he is fully representing them. Diego Gutierrez. Diego, welcome to the show, my guy.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
You know, what I love about your story is it's a story of hard work. It's a story of dedication to one's craft. And it's also a dedication to who you are. And what I mean by that is, especially probably more now than when you were growing up, people jump ship easily. You have colleges where you can transfer easy. You have teams where maybe things aren't what you want and you can jump easy. But what I've seen in your career, one being a Ralston grad, so go ahead, talk stuff on a Class B school. They make themselves who they are. It's a choice. But then you also do it here as a homegrown Maverick for the UNO. And then you even do a little bit of sauce on Creighton and you share what you get to do. And now you're back home at Morris Stadium. How does that feel?
I mean, first of all, it's been great. First of all, thank you for the kind words. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it's been great, man. Just coming home and playing in front of friends and family and just people that really support me and have supported me throughout my whole journey. It's just been special. It's been an easy transition.
And for those that don't know, of course, I get a DJ at least 4 or more games throughout the year. The first game I got a DJ was his actual home first game for the Union Omaha. Comes in maybe about the 56th minute. I could be off a little bit.
Something like that.
But I could tell you he did not have a lot of time. But he made it worth his time, scoring not just once, but twice. And that, to me, totally flipped the script for anybody that would question who you were and what you're doing. Because some people go, well, does he still got it? Can he still do it? You come in late and boom, boom. So I appreciate, one, the Union Omaha for having me out there, DJ, which, again, will be here this Sunday, May 16th at 4 p.m. Make sure to come down to the pitch down there at Morris Stadium. We appreciate Creighton for all they do. And I tell you, that atmosphere down there, nothing against Warner. Warner has done a great job for him, but a soccer stadium just feels different, especially that one. You're allowed to be around, and, of course, we have state soccer that I'll also be DJing here on Monday and Tuesday. And those people pack the house around there. It's just a different atmosphere. And I think as soccer players, you guys deserve it because Omaha is soccer, believe it or not. And you guys got a new stadium coming. But your story starts back in Ralston. You, of course, went to a high school where you made a name for yourself. But before the high school, before that, what all sports did you play? Did you only play soccer growing up?
For the most part, yes. I've always been pretty athletic. I've always been, I grew up around all my friends that played mostly baseball, basketball. So, like, during recess, like, I would obviously go play some basketball, go play some football with the boys. But for the most part, like, for my main sport, it was mostly all soccer until I got to middle school. Middle school is when I started liking basketball a little bit more. So I did play 1 year of middle school basketball. I swung A and B team, but I was pretty good defensively. I wasn't the best jump shooter, but I worked hard, and to this day I still love basketball. And then obviously in football, I did kick. I was a kicker for Ralston my freshman year. Took a couple years off. They needed a kicker, and then came back my senior year, and I was pretty good kicker too. I actually was all-state my senior year, and but yeah.
You know what I love about this part is soccer and football are so much alike, and sometimes depending on what you do outside of school, it is hard to do football and soccer. And I say that because I coached for 9 years at an Omaha South, so of course we should always have a great kicker. Mm-hmm. We, of course, had Chewy back in the day, and then we had Noah Zendejas.
Yeah.
Both of them got hurt. So I can only imagine it is a thing to where, yes, it's great that you can kick, but you don't want to risk the rest of it. What was that like for you trying to just do football? Obviously, you said you took a couple years off. What was that like for you?
Yeah, I mean, I took a couple years off. I mean, I kicked my freshman year, and I did it because they needed a kicker, and my older brother actually kicked when he was at Ralston, so he was a pretty good kicker as well. So same coach, he's like, "Hey, Diego, come out." And I was like, you know what, I'll come out my freshman year. Then my sophomore, junior year, I was like, you know what, like you said, like I don't want to risk it. I'm playing soccer. I don't want to risk my career. And then once I got older, like my senior year, no one was bringing. I was getting touchbacks every single kickoff. So there was no risk. Yeah, exactly. No risk of like me tackling someone or me getting tackled, you know. So I had a pretty big leg, and I still do. So
was it only for kickoffs, or did you do field goals too?
Yeah, I did kickoffs and field goals, and
what was that longest
I never did
field
punting.
goal?
My longest field goal in a game was actually I believe it was a 50 or it was like a 47-yarder to beat Gross.
That's still deep. And versus your rival?
Yeah, and versus our rival. Yeah.
You, of course, going through all that. As far as your select soccer during high school, what was that like for you, and how did that kind of rule your schedule?
Yeah, so we all took a break, obviously, during high school season. Everyone wanted to go play high school. And during that season, you take the time off. Once high school season's done, then you get back together and start playing select again. But I mean, it was during football, like I would literally kick like for 20 minutes and I would leave. Like the coaches didn't care.
That's all you need to do. Get some reps in, get the lessons in, and then go.
Exactly. I would just come into training or practice, and I would kick a couple balls, just warm up a little bit, hit a couple 50-yarders and leave.
The right coach knows what you need. They know that you don't have to do the conditioning because they know what you're doing outside of the sport. And I think those are just communication errors sometimes, right? Like of what the expectation is. And if you set those early, you can make it a fun experience instead of thinking you're doing something that you don't want to do. Because I think sometimes that's where people get lost in football is there's some hard days when you're fully involved in the sport, and it's not for everybody.
Yeah, and that's just not, I mean, it's every sport. Like every sport's a grind, and like you said, it's not for everybody, and you got to be willing to work every single day and grind it out, whether it's waking up at 6 a.m. for weights or staying after training and getting some extra reps in. Like being a professional athlete or just being an athlete in general it isn't easy. You know, you got to take care of your body outside of it, also recover well, sleep well, eat well. So yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. Your
select soccer, was that through Elite? Is that the program that you came up with, or who'd you come up through?
I kind of bounced around. It was with the same team, but we would kind of bounce around clubs. Started off when I was really young. I started off at a club called Azuri, and then we jumped over to a club called Phoenix, and then after that is when we jumped over to what you were bringing up, Elite Boys Academy, which is Gretna now. But yeah, we were there for quite a few years, and yeah, like I said, same team, but we would just kind of jump around what made sense for us.
How did you take the Elite or all the club and still be able to mix it with high school? Of course, sometimes coaching styles are different, playing styles. What was some of the things that you remember through high school that were things that were easy for you to adjust to, and some things that you were like, this doesn't work between the club and the school?
I think for me, like, it's always been pretty easy adjusting to like clubs and school. I mean, not to not to brag or anything, but I've always been one of the best players like on my teams. So it's never been hard for me to adjust. I kind of just fit in everywhere, and I'm always a team player as well. So whatever the team needs, I'll do it, and whatever the coach wants me to do, then I'll do it, you know.
How did you, or why did you stay at Ralston? What did you find at Ralston that made it to where you felt like you could be who you wanted to be and achieve goals that you wanted to achieve? Because some people would go, well, why didn't you go to prep? Why didn't you go, you know, some of those other soccer schools? Why didn't you do that? Why did you put Ralston on the map?
First of all, I grew up there. I moved to Ralston when I was 6 years old. So I went to Seymour Elementary, I went to Ralston Middle School, then Ralston High School, but obviously my older brothers went there as well. So just kind of knowing like all the coaches and like all the older guys already, and then also just growing up with my friends, you know, like like I said, I'm a super loyal guy. I ride for my guys, like even like I didn't grow up with a bunch of soccer guys. Like I said, it was a bunch of baseball, football, basketball, but I loved my friends, and I still do. Like I still talk to a bunch of my friends from middle school, elementary school, to this day. So, like I said, I'm loyal to those guys, and I'll give you a little insider. Actually, I actually tried to leave my freshman year before going into Ralston High School. I tried to go to Westside.
Okay.
I tried to go to Westside. I had a couple buddies at Westside, and they were talking to me about transferring over right after middle school. They had a pretty good team, and I was like, you know what? Like, it does sound good. It's like 10 minutes away from my house, not too far. So, I did try to go to Westside. It didn't work out because I didn't live in the district. And then actually my junior year, I tried to go to Millard South.
What was that for?
I tried to go to Millard South because I had a buddy, grew up with him, known him since I was like 6 years old, played with him on my club team, and we're just really good best friends. And I felt like I needed a sidekick, just someone to help me out a little bit.
Batman Robin.
Exactly. And I felt like at Ralston, like, no offense to the guys that were there, I love all the guys that were there, but I didn't have the help that, you know, I really wanted to kind of like make that push to win state, you know. But I don't regret it. Like, it didn't kill me that I didn't transfer.
Do you think it made you more of that dog that you are nowadays because you had to push yourself?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I said, like I've always done what the team has needed, whether it's scoring 6 goals a game or scoring a couple and then giving like 4 assists. Like I said, I try to do whatever I can to win. At the end of the day, that's the most important thing to me, just winning games.
Play that role.
Yeah, exactly. So whatever the team needs, like I said, it didn't kill me that I didn't transfer. It does suck that I never won a state title, but I think I left a good enough legacy and like showed what I can do where like people don't question it, you know?
Your recruiting process, what was that like for you in high school?
When I was going to college?
Well, no, just your recruiting. Like, when did recruiting start for you as far as colleges reaching out to you?
Okay.
How was the pool? Was it a lot of colleges?
Actually, funny enough, I think the Class B stuff affected it. I wasn't really heavily recruited after or out of high school. I was getting a couple offers through my club when we would go out and play like in Phoenix, like tournaments in Phoenix. We would go to San Diego. We would go down to Texas, just kind of play these different tournaments where they would have like these college showcases and stuff like that. But I wasn't heavily recruited, funny enough.
But did you also, you know, it's obviously more now than it was then, but did you put yourself out there on social media to be recruited? Because, like, that's what I always tell athletes, like, especially now, like people think X is dead or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, but that's still alive. Like that is still opportunities that are missed sometimes.
Yeah, and I'm 27 years old, so I'm getting up there. But my brothers are 32 years old, so I kind of grew up in that era where it was like no social media. You go outside, play with your boys, like leave the bike outside the crib, you know.
Yes.
And you hang out with your boys all day, and you know it's time to come in when the street lights come on, you know. But
yes, sir.
I grew up around that time, but any younger kid that comes up to me and asks for advice on like recruitment and all that stuff, I always tell them to make sure, like, there's videos everywhere now, you know. It's so easy to get video of your game now that, like, I always tell them, make sure you video your games, make a highlight tape, and just reach out to every coach you can. Just email the assistant, the head coach, just whoever's in there, you know, and just kind of put yourself out there. And I was a first generation in my family to go to a 4-year university. So I didn't have much experience like going into it, you know, especially coming from a Latino household. My parents are immigrants, so they didn't know much about that stuff, you know. So I didn't have much help. But I think just like I said, like you've been saying, just hard work and just kind of pushing through and being a dog. Like
I like how you brought up like the part that, you know, my kids are first generations. I didn't go to college, but they did. They didn't go for sports, but this is exactly why, if we could reach one kid, one parent to understand, like, you don't have to be someone that knows. There's so many resources out there to help you find out. You talked about college recruiting when it came to your travel. What was that like for you, as far as, did you feel like it was real talk, or did you just feel like they saw you in a blink of an eye, they wanted to talk to you? And why did none of those pique your interest?
Yeah, so we would go to these college showcases with my club team. Like, say we went down to Arizona and played in it was called the President's Cup. And we would go down there, and there was always college scouts while you were playing, and you would see them sitting down, like, taking notes and stuff like that. And if you did well, they would go up to you after the game and be like, oh, hey, my name is so-and-so from wherever, you know, Creighton University, for example, and we'd like how you played. We'd like to stay in touch. Like, can we get your email, your phone number, whatever, you know? So it was kind of like that. But, like, for me, like, it kind of never went further than that, you know? Like I said, I wasn't really heavily recruited. I had a couple D1 offers that were, like, super small. Like, I think my biggest one was Air Force coming out of high school. And I was like, do I really want to go to Air Force, you know? Like, and then, but after that, it was mostly D2, a couple D2 schools, NAIA, JUCOs, and, you know, like, I felt like I was maybe above that level, you know? I felt like I wanted to go to, like, a major D1 school, and, I mean, at first, I actually committed to Hastings, so I was going to go to Hastings. Ended up changing my mind because Jason Mims at UNO ended up hitting me up, and he's like, hey, like, what are you doing going to Hastings? Like, I'd love to have you here. And I was like, you know what? I jumped ship, and the coaches at Hastings, I still talk to one of them, Coach Champ, and he understood, and he helped me out a lot. So thankful for him and thankful for Mims at UNO. So,
did your high school coach have much experience to be able to share that part of your recruitment? Because sometimes they don't. I mean, some do, some don't.
Yeah, and I'm sure he did. He's my high school coach was. He actually has a lot of experience in the game of soccer, and but he didn't really help me, like, in the recruitment process and, like, picking and, like, choosing colleges and all that stuff. Like, he kind of just let me do my own thing. Same thing with, like, my club coach. Like, it wasn't like no one heavily influenced me, you know? Like, it was kind of just like me doing my own thing and like talking to my family.
See, for me with them, I just wish they would make sure, of course, not influence, but maybe talk about the process. And I don't know, maybe they did a little bit, maybe they didn't, but I know high school, they obviously don't have a lot of time.
Yeah.
You know, being a former high school football coach, like you're really wrapped in practice. But with club, I feel like you guys are together so much, and especially on those road trips, so much to where conversations could be had. And obviously these can be learning lessons for those coaches of how could they help athletes like yourself who are first gen understand the opportunities that could be or can't be. What did you feel like you did good in high school that you knew you had to improve when it came to the college game?
I think I had all the tools to play well in college. I think it was just more of like, obviously, like the speed of play. Like I know how to killer instinct for goal. I know my dribbling was really, really good, and I know I played the game really well. I know I had pretty good IQ and all that, but I think mostly just the speed of play. Like I knew once I got to college, like it was just going to be a lot quicker, you know, just like the whole thought process, like before you get the ball, know what you're going to do. And just like with the ball as well, like making a move a lot quicker, you know, because you're going to play against guys that are better, faster, stronger once you get to college. And it was the same thing when I got to the pros. Like once college got too easy for me, I was like, okay, like,
well, yeah, you
now,
went from 100% in high school, and what I mean by that is almost 100% can play, to 3% make it to college to play, to the 1% of the pro.
Exactly.
Everybody is good. Everybody is fast. What was your weight room regimen, and what was your eating regimen, and how did that change from high school to college for yourself?
I did not hit the weights in high school, actually. I would eat whatever in high school. I had that. I mean, I still do. I still got that high metabolism. I could eat whatever. I mean, now I would say now I take it a little bit more easy and I watch like what I eat. But in high school, I did whatever I wanted. I was young, you know. You could do whatever you want. You don't gain weight. You're
invincible.
Exactly. You feel invincible. Once I got to college, that's when I started taking my eating a little bit more serious. I started eating a little bit better and like just kind of watching, not really like watching calories or anything, but just kind of eating cleaner and like making sure my body feels right before games and trainings, you know, so I can perform at my highest. Weights were like I was starting to, but I was like, you know, still not there yet. Once I got to Creighton, that's when I like really ramped up like the weights and all that stuff, because that's when I figured out I was being watched by MLS, and they had interest in me. The MLS teams had interest in me, so that's when I was like, okay, like if I'm gonna play at the highest level here in the U.S. for soccer, then I do got to get faster. I do got to get stronger, and I do got to eat a little bit better, you know. So now like I do eat clean. I hit the weights almost like every other day and just kind of try to maintain my body, you know.
Do you hate the fact that you didn't push this a little sooner? Do you think you would be in a different spot?
No. I don't think it made much of a difference, because at that time, like, not many kids are hitting the weights anyways.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know. I was always just different with the ball, you know?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like what matters is what you can do with the ball. And you go watch like a bunch of these European teams, like a lot of them don't even hit the weights, you know? So like, it's not like you actually like need it in soccer. Obviously, like, I think it's good to maintain like strength, like whether it's your legs or like upper body strength, like maybe hitting the weights a couple times a week. But like I think soccer is a sport where it's just like super technical, and you really need to do like kind of focus more on ball work than like anything else.
Because your cardio's there. It's not like you're not working muscles.
Yeah.
You're working the muscles to get everywhere. So that makes a lot of sense where your touches is what is counting. The amount of times you're touching the ball. Through the high school and college, what was some things that you would do to make sure that you never got burnt out to the game?
I think it was just really my love for the game. Like I know I have a bunch of friends that got burnt out in high school. I have a bunch of friends that got burnt out in college, whether it's like coaches that like wouldn't play them and like they didn't see eye to eye, or like maybe they just fell out of love like with the sport, you know. And for me, soccer's always just been my passion. Like it's always been my way out. It's always been like if I'm feeling stressed or if I'm feeling sad or like going through a heartbreak, whatever, you know, like if I pick up a ball and I start playing, like I just forget about everything. So like for me, just the love for the game just helped me not get burnt out, you know? Like I never let a coach, even if I wasn't seeing eye to eye with a coach, I never let him get in the way of me and the love for the game. Like, cause I knew what I was capable of. Like if I'm not playing under this coach, like fine, that's your opinion.
Yeah.
I know if I go somewhere else, this coach is going to love me, you know? So like, I mean, I'm sure it's like this in every sport. It's opinion based, you know?
Yeah.
And you might not fit a philosophy under one coach, but under another coach, like you might be his favorite player ever. You know what I mean?
You never know. If you just give up, you'll never understand what could have been, right?
Exactly.
And then you sit there regretting. Of course, the transfer from UNO to Creighton, what was that for you? What sparked it? What all was that? Because I know then you went through a hard time of COVID where, you know, sports were kind of put on the back burner a little bit. And I think for some, that pushed themselves further to know that it is more of what you do than it is what the team does or what anybody else does.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I felt like with how I was being recruited and talked about, like with MLS teams and all that stuff, like I said, like they were looking at me and I knew I was being scouted by MLS teams. And I just felt like UNO wasn't giving me what I needed in like support of just kind of the team and like pushing ourselves to become better, you know? So I felt like my time there was pretty much up. I felt like the team wasn't getting better, and I felt like I kind of wanted more exposure for myself. It was a very selfish decision, and I felt like I had to do it. It was very hard because UNO is the obviously the university that brought me into the D1 world. So I'm very thankful for them. But like I said, I felt like I needed more exposure. It was a little bit selfish of me, but you know, sometimes you got to be selfish for your career and help yourself. So I felt like transferring was gonna give me a better opportunity to get drafted into the MLS. And growing up, I would always be ball boy at the Creighton games, and I felt like I remember I was super young being ball boy, and I felt like being at that stadium, like I felt like they were pros, you know? Like I would go to these games at Morrison, and I'd be like, damn, like this is so sick. Like I would love to play here one day. So in the back of my mind, I always wanted to be a Blue Jay, you know? No knock to UNO, but you know, Creighton's
you gave
just
them years. It's not like you just went one and done. Like
that's right.
You know what I mean? You gave respect more than some people give.
Yeah.
And it's even obviously different nowadays. I mean, people go 1 year and they're done.
Yeah.
I mean, some people go 4 years, different colleges. So don't ever feel bad like you did any disservice. You had to see where yourself and where they were going to be. Mm-hmm. And if it wasn't projecting you to the standards that you wanted to be and you knew where you had to be, especially with a dream like the MLS.
Yeah.
You, of course, go through COVID. What was that like for you?
Yeah, so I go in there with my coach and I ask for my release, and things happen. We don't see eye to eye and we kind of butt heads, but I had a whole bunch of D1 offers. Like, that's the first time I actually felt wanted when I entered my name into the transfer portal. I had a bunch of big colleges reaching out, and like I said, in the back of my mind, I always wanted to be a Blue Jay. And I was like, you know what? Like, I want to stay home. I want to go to Creighton. So I go to Creighton. And then I get drafted by Portland, actually, during the COVID time. And Portland actually said, we're actually not taking the new players in, the drafted players in right now because COVID. They wanted to keep everyone, like, away from each other, you know? Like, they had their squad already. They didn't want to bring anyone new, and, like, just in case, like, the virus, no one knew what the virus was, you know? So they didn't want to, like, bring in new guys into the team.
You would have had
like,
to been probably quarantined 14 days. Like, there was so much that could have.
Exactly. So that's why it wasn't my decision. A lot of people think it was my decision to stay at Creighton, but it actually wasn't. It was Portland's decision, and I respected it, and I was like, okay, like, I'll stay. And what sucked was I'm drafted, and, like, I didn't want to get hurt. You know what I mean?
See, it changes the mind. Like,
For sure.
People don't understand, like, all it takes is one opportunity that you know is there could change how you would perceive yourself because you're not doing it for that.
Exactly. So Portland had my rights, and I'm still in school. They tell me to stay, and I'm like, damn, like, now I got to play a whole nother season in college and not get hurt, but I still got to show out, you know? And luckily, like, thankfully, it all worked out in the end. But, yeah, the whole COVID thing was just crazy, like, just getting tested literally every single day when I was at Creighton.
Did you guys have to do masks on the field, like
Yeah,
football?
we had
like,
to do.
that is just crazy because you guys are way more cardio than football.
It was terrible. Like, I remember middle of summer on Morrison Stadium, sun beaming on the turf, and we're in masks, and it was. They also had gaiters for us, like, after the match.
And all you do is you just slobber in the gator.
Oh my gosh, it was terrible.
I use those gaiters now as, like, pretty much, so I'm one that I hate. I'm a flat bill hat guy, so I hate sweat when people have sweatbands, so I always wear those gaiters now. Is pretty much like people are like, you got a do-rag on? No, it's not a do-rag. It's those gaiters that we had to buy and we had to wear in order not to breathe on people or something.
Yeah, it was a tough time, but had to get the vaccine. The Big East made us get the vaccine. If you didn't get the vaccine, you weren't playing. So that was another thing that
that's harsh, man. Like, people making that decision for you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, and it's whatever now, like, you know. But
does a magnet stick to your arm? Have you ever tried?
So. No, I haven't tried.
Okay, try it.
Yeah,
I proved it on my buddy Kevo. Man, I said he got it. He was like, he had to get it for his company.
Yeah.
Sure enough, a magnet stuck to his arm. It is what it is, folks.
Yeah,
it's over.
It is what it is, but I mean, you can't do anything about it now. So,
and then after college, you of course get through Creighton. You start out with. Didn't you start out with Chicago Fire for a little bit?
No. So I was playing summer in Chicago.
Okay.
For it was just kind of like a summer league.
Okay.
They were a little bit affiliated with Chicago Fire, but it wasn't anything like close, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I played there for a little bit. And then after college, after Creighton, that's when I went to Portland. So went to Portland. Just got drafted, and I still had to earn a contract. So I was in there just doing preseason, and I still had to earn a contract. I go and kill it during preseason, and literally like a week and a half before the season starts, they bring me into the office and they say, hey, we're going to sign you to the first team MLS contract. And I was like, wow, like that was like probably the most special day of my life, just because like I've been working for that dream
for years.
Since I was 4 years old. That's when I started playing soccer. I mean, I was probably kicking the ball a lot sooner, but like on an actual team, I was 4 years old, and it was just super special, not only for me but for my family. Obviously, my dad had that dream of becoming a pro. My brothers had that dream of becoming a pro, and a bunch of my cousins as well. But just like me living that dream through like my parents and my brothers, like they just felt super special. And
everybody has choices, and you got choices where you can forget where you came from, but for you it represented who the Gutierrez family is.
It was more than just me. It was more than just me, for sure. Like
the sacrifices that you knew your parents did,
for sure.
The way that your brothers showed you that you could play sports and be a part of things, like it's important for not the whole family has to become pro. But if they each showed you one different thing of how to be a pro or be good at what they do, like those are the things that are different in families.
Exactly, and I wouldn't have made it without my brothers and my dad. Obviously, also my mom and my sister, but just like my brothers kicking my butt in the backyard, making me cry when I was young, you know, like it toughens you up, you know. Also, my dad yelling at me growing up, like at my games, and I would piss him off. And I'm like, you know, like all those little things like is what makes you who you are, you know, and it helps you out throughout your career.
You signed that first contract with Portland. You of course grew up looking across the way of probably above and beyond MLS as far as players, but when you think of just the MLS players that you looked up to, who were some of those names, and did you ever get starstruck when you played against any of those teams?
Yeah, for sure. Especially nowadays. Obviously, the MLS is growing, so they're recruiting a lot of big name players now from Europe and all that. But yeah, I played against a bunch of players that like I grew up watching on TV, watching in the Champions League or the World Cup, whatever. And there's a bunch of names there. When I played against Galaxy, Chicharito. When I played against LAFC, played against Gareth Bale and Carlos Vela. And then when I played against Toronto FC, I played against Bernadeschi and Insigne. So, like, big name, Galaxy, Douglas Costa, and just big name players, you know, like, that you grew up watching on TV. And for sure, like, you're starstruck and but at the end of the day, you got to go in there and like you got to do your job as well, you know. So you can leave that the fanboy stuff like after.
I was
game.
just gonna ask, your first game you get to play versus someone that you're kind of fan of. Did you go in the right way, knowing that it was game first and then be the fan, or did you kind of at first have to pull yourself back from that moment?
Yeah, for sure. I think also like the fans too. So you go into the game and you see 30,000 people screaming and you know it's time to zone in and lock in when you step on the field. But you kind of just try to, obviously, like going into the game, you're like, damn, like I can't believe I'm gonna play against this guy. But like I said, once you're in the game, you got to lock in, and you can leave that fanboy stuff for after the game, and maybe ask for a picture. Maybe
I was going to say, were you able to have some good conversations post game with some of those guys?
Yeah, for sure. And I was able to get a couple jerseys, so I got a couple in my closet right now that mean a lot to me.
Dude, it's those little things, right? You got to be a kid after the game, you know. And I say it even with like. There's this guy, Will Kyle, who's probably going to get drafted to the NBA this year from Bellevue West. And I went and watched him at college. I've shared his story actually twice on our show. And just knowing that when we're outside of that, the basketball, to me, he's just little Will. Mm-hmm. Like, he's still that, he's a caring young man. He cares about having fun. And I think sometimes as fans and fandom, they forget all that hard work that you guys put in, that it's okay for you guys to be not this humans.
Yeah.
And I think that's what gets forgotten. And of course, I'm sure the standards, of course, are still high when you're in the game and doing what you got to do. But outside of the game, it's okay to be you.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's the most important. That's the most important lesson that I was taught growing up. My dad, like I said, I've always been probably the best player on a lot of the teams that I've played on throughout my whole career. And he's always told me to just stay level-headed and keep your feet on the ground, and like just be humble. Just be humble, humble at all times with people that love you and like talk to you, like with your friends, with your family. Just don't forget where you came from, and because at the end of the day, we're all humans. No one's better than anyone else, Everyone's gone through different things, so you can't judge. Just because I'm better at soccer than you doesn't mean,
Yeah.
Like, you could be better than me.
Everybody
at
has things.
A million other things,
Yeah.
But, like, you could ask any of my boys. Like, I never switched up on my boys. Like, I still talk to all of them. I still go out with all of them and, like, have good times. And, I'm still Diego to them. Like, I'm not.
Well, and that's what I love is we said it before, the interview, but, my best friend as a DJ, and my brother, DJ semicolon, he knows him as Andrew colon, you're always, especially in this city, you're one person away from knowing other people that are good people.
Yeah.
Like, that's all I could say. Like, if you have yourself on a straight and narrow, you are who you are, and you're nothing but trying to be positive, people just connect and gravitate toward it. And I could say what he is saying about being true to himself and still has his boys is true. I mean, with my guy Andrew, like, those things matter because you made it to a high point where people wish, dream, and hope, but they don't understand the things you probably have missed out on. The things that you gave up, but home is home.
For sure. And a lot of things that I gave up, like, just especially family time. Like, my brothers, I got nephews and a niece now, and just kind of like missing out. This is the first time I'm actually living at home in 7 years. So just like being around my nephews and my niece and seeing them grow up every single day, as opposed to just coming back for the off season and seeing them for a couple months. Like,
you're like, they grew up like years in those months.
Yeah, exactly. They grow up, you come back and they're 2 feet taller and they're talking now, and I'm like, damn, like, what I miss,
Yeah.
But like, now it's so sick just being here and seeing them almost every single day, and just kind of, like I said, like, there's nothing like family time and just being around people that love you.
You of course go through the Portland Timbers. They also kind of loan you out to Portland Timbers too. Then of course you go out, you do some time at Monterey. What's kind of the levels as it goes through your process to where you are now back at home?
Yeah, so like you said, I was at Portland for 2.5 years, and then when I wouldn't get game time with the first team, they would drop me down with the second team just to keep the rhythm, just to make sure you're sharp, and just in case, like, we need you for the first team. So I would drop down and get some game time with the second team. And then after that, it didn't work out. We got new coaching staff in Portland. They kind of cleaned the house a little bit. And that's when I actually left to Charleston. So I went from the MLS to USL Championship, which is still a very, very good league. The USL leagues are very good. But I went down to Charleston. I was there for a year. Also didn't work out, so I went to Monterey, where I was there for a year and a half. Ended up not working out after some injuries and all that stuff, but it's just it's a process, and it's very tough going from city to city and just like moving all your things, and it's just super stressful, and also meeting new people, because at the end of the day, like, you got to go in and like you got to be ready to work. Like, and
everybody's fighting for your position. It's not like
exactly.
You went from, like you said, with your boys, from all those different clubs, but you kind of stuck your team together.
Yeah.
Then you get to the real world, and it's like, this person across me, I got to be his teammate, but he's also trying to get the same minutes I'm trying to get.
Yeah, exactly.
And you never think of that when you're younger, because you're just like, sweet, I'll get my time, you'll get your time, let's go, my boys. But once you start getting to the paid level, time is money, and you know that every experience. What did you learn through those processes that has been able to help you have success here in Omaha?
I think just building connections, because like I said, you never know who you're gonna meet, and just trying to build as much connections as you can when you're on these teams. I think that's the most important, because you have to. You obviously don't have your family when you're away in these different cities, you know. So your family does become your team. So just kind of building connections and just being there for each other and doing what it takes to win. I think that's just the most important thing, just kind of building that foundation as a team and as a brotherhood, you know. But it's just, like I said, it's super difficult because, like you said, sometimes you're fighting for position and someone may not like you, or like maybe you go somewhere and a coach doesn't like you. So there's a lot of things that go into it, and you know, sometimes it doesn't always go your way, and you just got to fight through it.
I would say there's probably a lot of adversity that's in the shadows that most people don't know, and of course, sometimes you could even beat yourself up wondering, what am I doing wrong? And it might not even be you. It could be the coaches.
Yeah.
How did Omaha become part of your picture this year?
I think the past couple years I've kind of struggled with like finding myself and like knowing what I truly can do. Just because like I've had the past couple years I've had a difficult time with like playing time and just kind of finding my place and where I fit in, you know. Sometimes you forget what you can do on the field if you're not fitting in those situations, you know, in those clubs, and you kind of lose yourself. Especially being, like I said, being away from friends and family. You have no one to talk to. Say you have a bad day or a bad week or a bad game, you come home to an empty space, like an empty apartment, and you're like, who the hell do I talk to, you know?
Well, yeah, because I'm sure relationships aren't easy.
Yeah,
besides friendships,
for sure,
right?
Relationships are difficult as well, because you're moving. Like, I mean, I don't know where I'm gonna be next year.
Yeah.
So like, I was in Portland 3 years. I go to Charleston.
Yeah.
And then I go to Monterey. So I'm going across the country, and I'm like, okay, like I meet people over here, and now I got to say goodbye, and then I got to meet new people over here, and I'm only here for a year, so then I got to say goodbye to them. But like Omaha, it was just super easy just coming back. Like I said earlier in the podcast, like just coming back home where I know I'm loved from like friends, family, and also people that I know have supported me throughout my whole career. I think just coming back here and like finding myself again and getting that confidence again, and I know what I can do. I know what I'm capable of on the field. So like I said, just getting that confidence back and showing everyone.
What'd you like about Coach Vinny?
I love him. He's a good guy. He's just...
We got to share his story, and his story just presses so much on the players, just of what you're talking about, and when you can live that with him.
Yeah, and he obviously he's a very young coach, and he's just progressing super well. Like you can just see that. Like, I mean, I'm sure it's killing him that he's young, and like I'm sure he still wants to play, but he's actually a really, really good coach, and he's so good for our group because everyone respects him. Everyone's bought in on what he says and like his philosophy. But like at the end of the day, like he's just one of the guys. Like he's one of the boys, you
Players
know?
coach.
Exactly, and that's why we love him. Like we respect the hell out of him, but like he also has that side of him where like obviously like he'll get on our ass. He'll yell at us, but like he'll also like crack some jokes and like just be our boy, you know? And that's what we love about him.
You of course get that first game at Morrison Stadium. What do you remember about that day? Because everybody, of course, why isn't he starting? Why isn't like? But you know where your place is. You know your spot, because I'm sure Coach Vinny doesn't leave that left for you to wonder what's going to happen.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I was new on the team, and I know I'm not, obviously, like, wherever you go, if you come into the team late, you're not going to start right away, you know? I don't care, like, who you are, unless you're, like, Messi or Ronaldo, you know? But, like, you know, you got to know your role, like we said earlier. I know I wasn't going to start right away, but at the end of the day, like, I'm a gamer, and whether I come in the 50th or the 40th or the 90th minute, I don't care. I'm still going to ball out, you know? So I came into the game, and just like the energy and the atmosphere of Morrison, it was just buzzing. Like, it just felt like I was at Creighton. It felt like I was at home. And just having my friends and my family there just gave me a little extra boost of confidence, you know? And I just forgot about the past, like in Monterey, Charleston, of like injuries and like playtime and all that stuff. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go out here and do my thing. And yeah, it was an unbelievable feeling just playing there and scoring 2 goals and helping the team win.
What I love about your journey and your story, and I appreciate all those who will check it out, tune in, make sure to listen, is you gave the ups and downs to back to where, to me, it feels like you're playing for the love of the game as a kid again. But you also are not afraid of the hard times that had to get you to that point, because that, again, as you said earlier, is a time when you can quit, you can give up, you could have threw in the bag. But your journey, your story is still living on here at Union Omaha. Make sure to check them out this Sunday, 4 p.m. But also check out their schedule. Like, this is a team, and I'm pretty sure you noticed this in everything that you've done. They've beaten MLS teams, and now that league is starting to grow as like over across in Europe to where opportunities can be had. Mm-hmm. And don't think that isn't on these players' mind and it's not a part of their journey. Now that it just adds that blood to the water and makes it worth more.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, like I said, like it ain't all about me, you know. Of course I'm the Omaha native, I'm the hometown hero, but we have a great group of guys. Like, our team, this is such a sick team. And everyone's super bought into how we play, and like, just at the end of the day, we all have one goal, and that's to win every single game and to win championships. And our brand of football that we're playing is just, it's so fun to watch. So yeah, make sure you guys come out to their games and support us, because it's not just about me. It's about the guys and what we're trying to accomplish.
Well, once again, another story, another episode. Thank you, Heard at One, and everything that you guys do. Make sure to like, share, follow, do all those great things. And if we have reached one parent or one athlete, that is exactly our goal every episode, and we'll catch you next time. See ya.
Yes, sir.